Anatma Viveka. That's the explanation given. And then that was to address the argument of Arjuna of bodily compassion. The bodily compassion which Arjuna gave. How could I fight, especially harming my own family man? That is the compassion which he has shown, for which Lord Krishna addressed, today, tomorrow, or sometime later, surely the body is going to get destroyed. And soul is the eternally existent being. And one has to invest in the soul. One has to perform one's duties, tolerating the dualities. So that was the essential instruction, the Sankhya section. So Prabhupada, in one of the purports in that section, has explained that the Sankhya which is told in the second chapter is not the Sankhya of atheistic Kapila. And also, it is not the Sankhya of theistic Kapila in its fullest sense. So there was, in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see the Shaktya Veshavatara of Lord Krishna, that is Kapila Dev, son of Devahuti. He explains the Sankhya elaborately in third canto. You might have noticed that. And essentially, Sankhya means to count the number of elements. So there are various terminologies of counting. Some say 8, some say 16, and finally some say 24. So it's how you classify the elements. So 24 elements usually is the famous terminology. And 25th element is Atma. And 26th element is Paramatma. When we say atheistic Sankhya, they stop at 24 or max 25, usually 24. And the actual Sankhya which Kapila Dev gave included Paramatma. So that's why it is theistic Sankhya, the original Sankhya. But here Lord Krishna is telling this Sankhya with the goal to make Arjuna fight. So the purpose here is different, and that's why Prabhupada distinguishes it from the Sankhya of Bhagavatam also. After this section starts the shloka number 31 onwards, which is Karma Kanda section. We saw this last time. We began with a few shlokas in this. So now Arjuna has heard about Atma, ever existent, and body temporary. The very first or initial application of this knowledge is to understand that, okay, if I am not going to get everlasting happiness at the bodily platform, how can I continue to get happiness? Maybe next life, I'm going to get taken next life. So how can I get happiness in that life? So that's an immediate vision, which is far longer than materialistic vision. But nonetheless, it is immediate vision, Karma Kanda. So in 2.31, last time when we stopped, we saw the Swadharma concept. So can anyone explain the two Swadharmas and how one works with both of them? Anyone remembers that last discussion we had? Swadharma. Yes.
One Swadharma is called Varnashrama Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding.
Yes.
And the second one is so in context of Paradharma. Is in context. One is context of spirit, which is Paradharma, and one in context of the body, which is the Varnashrama Dharma.
Correct. So we have two identities in a conditioned state. Essentially, the original identity is spirit soul, and the dharma of the spirit soul is Sanatana Dharma, devotional service. Because in conditioned state, we are in the body, there is some dharma or duty of being in the body. That is Varnashrama Dharma. So Prabhupada explained there that Varnashrama Dharma is stepping stone for spiritual understanding. In the 31st chapter, Shlokas purport, you may note that human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashrama Dharma, or specific duties in terms of modes of nature of the body obtained. Discharging one specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to elevate that person's to a higher status of life. This was the conclusion. Kind of Prabhupada summarizes the whole Karma Kanda. So this is the Varnashrama Dharma's duties. So Arjuna is a Kshatriya. Lord Krishna is urging you follow the dharma of being a Kshatriya. And you are thinking that you will not be able to enjoy even if you win the battle. Arjuna's argument was, the second argument, loss of enjoyment. That even if I win the battle, I will not be able to enjoy because there will be no my family members of mine. With whom shall I share my enjoyment? Usually a person enjoys with his family members, near and dear ones. When there is no one around, then how can I be happy even with all that what I want to be with? So now Lord Krishna says, you want to enjoy, but I say that you can enjoy by following the duty. Even in this life and in the next life, you will be able to enjoy. So that is from the 32nd verse. Let us read that. Who would like to read today?
You can read it, Prabhuji.
Okay, Satyadev Prabhu has raised time. Let's give him one chance. Yeah. Yadrechaya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam sukhina kshatriya partha labhante yuddhamidrisham. Please read, Satyadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
So Prabhupada tells below that if you don't fight being a Kshatriya, forget about staying in this world or being in the status quo. You will even in fact go to hell. So declining to fight will degrade you. That's the first thing he proposes. Now he says, okay, if you do not fight, what will people think? Let's see. Okay. Atha chetvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tata swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsyasi. Read.
However, you do not perform this religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
So if you don't fight, you will go to hell. If you you will also incur sin, and you will lose your reputation of being a fighter. So Arjuna is a very famous, reputed fighter, warrior. In fact, he has gained weapons by fighting against the primal devatas. Say even Nivata Kavachas, he kills the devatas. Supporting devatas. He even fights against Lord Shiva. Many like that astras he has gained, and that all reputation will go in vain if you decline to fight. And then what will people think? Oh, you may say, oh, if I fight, then I will incur sin, so I will not fight. So, but people will not think like this. What they will think? Let's see here. Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya chakirtim maranad atirichyate. Read.
Yeah. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
So, Lord Krishna, if you can see the verse here, Akirtim chapi bhutani, you will gain infamy, kathayishyanti te avyayam, forever. You will, means a person has something valuable according to his status. Like for a Brahmana, if one has to give pain to him, then one insults him. One in fact just gives us a sign or a glance of disappointment. That itself is sufficient for a Brahmana to understand. If Kshatriya needs to be given pain or punished, then infamy or insult. One insults him. One says defames him. That's a verbal insult kind of a thing. Then Vaishya, can someone extend this? For Vaishya, how is punishment given, or how is the lesson conveyed? Anyone? For a Vaishya, usually fine is put, heavy fine is put, because he considers money as very dear to him. Is it not? And for Shudra, a corporal punishment, physical punishment is given. So for different levels of people, different types of treatments are given, not in everyone put in same category like that. So here, Kshatriya, Arjuna is a Kshatriya. So he is being incited by our Lord Krishna, telling you will be defamed. For a Kshatriya, fame or reputation is very important. Even for a devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness in a society, for him also reputation is important for the purpose of proper presentation of Krishna consciousness. So here for the matter Kshatriya, because whatever Kshatriya does, people follow. For that matter, any leader has to have good reputation. So here Kshatriya, Arjuna is being incited that you will be defamed, and such a defaming is worse than death. You will be looked down by people, your enemies, and such this thing is worse than death. You can see that. For a respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not flee for fear of your life. Better to die in the battle. So if you feel, oh Arjuna, that you may not win against great generals like Bhishma and Drona, better you die in battle. That is far better future than leaving the battlefield. Now Arjuna may say, oh no, I am not leaving the battlefield because I am fearful. In fact, I have compassion towards others. No, this is a noble motive. But Arjuna is being attacked on this front also by Lord. Let's hear what it is. Bhayadranad uparatam, bhayadranad uparatam, mamsyante tvam maharata, yesham cha tvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. Yes, Prabhu. The great generals.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
The world sees your actions, O Arjuna, not your intentions. So do your actions properly. And this is a very important criteria for a leader, for for that matter, any in any position, devotee is a leader. Even if one is a family man, he is a leader of that group. Even if one is leading a small group of devotees, or for that matter, any capacity, he's a leader. He's a teacher, or he's a company owner, or is working in a family, working in a small team in a company. So he's a leader. Everywhere one has to take that role of leadership, self-leadership, group leadership, many ways. So people will see actions. That's the first thing people observe. Intentions are seen much later. That kind of benefit of doubt is given much later. So better perform the right actions. People will think that you are fleeing out of fear, O Arjuna, not out of compassion. So that will make you feel very sad. They will consider you insignificant. Laghavam. So better you fight the battle.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
I have a small doubt here. Here Krishna is asking Arjuna, don't run away from this battlefield. You have to do your duty. But in one of the pastimes, Krishna also leaves the battle. He is called Ranchod.
Yes.
This looks like a contradiction. Krishna is asking Arjuna to do it, but he himself has not.
Correct.
The people will ask this in the same.
Yes. That is a glory of Lord Krishna. That's how we see. He is ready to be defamed. He's ready to be insulted or misunderstood by people, that he ran out of the battlefield. So Lord Krishna's one opulence is renunciation, is it not? He doesn't care how people understand him or not understand him. In fact, people most of the times misunderstand his actions. But Lord Krishna, one thing we also have to understand, Supreme Lord is supremely independent. We are talking about Lord now here. So he doesn't need to follow any rules and regulations of Varnashrama like that. But he voluntarily accepts that role to teach a lesson. But sometimes if he sees that there is a greater opportunity to serve his devotee, there is a greater opportunity for him to exchange rasa with his devotee, then he even forgoes that and does activities like this one activity. So he ran away from the battlefield when Jarasandha attacks the last time for a specific purpose. So people may misunderstand him, but those confidential associates of Lord, they know his intention. So that's why it is not when one sees the actions of Lord, one needs an acharya to explain those actions. One needs an acharya to explain those actions. That's why it is told, don't just go by actions of Lord, go by instructions of Lord. Better follow instructions of Lord. There are avatars of Lord which set those examples by even actions, like Lord Ram. Lord Rama, he is very exemplary in every action. But Lord Krishna is very special. He is supremely independent. And several of his actions when he came here are misunderstood, like this one example we are saying. So actions of Lord need an explanation by an acharya, how to understand it and how to emulate or follow that. So in that sense, we should see. At the same time, Lord Krishna has also shown many lessons by his examples. Like before running away from battlefield, we can always say 17 times he is already defeated. Is it not? Before running away with this one last time. And then later also he defeats that one with Bhima, with the help of Bhima. So many such explanations could be given, even if we don't want to enter the reason of the devotional reason of why Lord left the battlefield. Is that clear, Prabhuji? Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
So, but here Arjuna, he is a leader. He is a Jiva Tattva. So he has to follow proper actions. So that is it's told here. So how will the enemy see your actions? For further shlokas come. From here, Sri Giriraj Prabhu can read.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Prabhu.
Okay. So from here, sorry, I think I opened the wrong side. Avachavadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahita nindantas tava samarthyam tato dukkhataram nukim. Is read.
Sure, Prabhu. Yeah. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
So already earlier Lord Krishna has rebuked Arjuna, telling Anarya. Now he is telling, you're not only, the whole world will see your action. They will talk so ill about you as a coward. They will doubt your prowess. Whatever you have done earlier will go in waters. So in that sense, it will cause you more pain than running away from than fighting. You thought you will cause pain by killing them, but actually if you run away, it will cause you more pain. So better choose this option of fighting. So in that sense, Lord is telling. So there is loss in every side for Arjuna if he declines to fight. If he chooses to fight, there is win in every outcome of it. And Lord explains that in the next sloka. Hato va prapsyase swargam jitva va bhokshyase mahim tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya kritanishchaya. Read ahead.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
So one possibility of the battlefield is that you win. If you win, you will get heavens. That is next. You will get the earthly kingdom to enjoy, to rule nicely. And if you lose, if you get killed, then also for a kshatriya to die on the battlefield is as a very, very noble death. He will attain swarga. So in that sense also you are winning. So there is win on both the outcomes of this choice. So that's why tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchaya. That's why you should determine yourself to fight. So Lord Krishna is presenting in this. So this is essentially saying that how there is benefit for you on the material platform. If you choose to fight, how there is benefit for you on this material platform. So karma kanda essentially is actions performed according to Vedic scriptures for material benefit. Actions performed according to Vedic scriptures for material benefit. And the person who is performing, he is not really looking for elevation or getting liberated from this world. He doesn't have that thought in his mind. So that is the usual paradigm or perspective of a person who is in following karma kanda. The benefit of following karma kanda is he is following Vedic authority. So when he is performing activities for one's material benefit, say he is doing some sacrifice, he's giving some charity, he's attending some spiritual function, there is an opportunity for him to associate with saintly people. He receives saintly people, he serves them. These are all told, if one just does these activities or rituals, then how much material benefits he will get. So people thinking that, they come forward and they do such activities. And when they get opportunity to associate with saintly people, there is a greater chance to hear spiritual knowledge, for an awakening towards spiritual life. So there is a greater chance. So in that sense, they have a greater probability to become proper spiritual practitioners instead of just Vedic material practitioners. So in that sense, karma kanda is appreciated. So when we see from lower side, okay, let me show that chart. Okay, you may be aware of this. We will discuss this more elaborately in the next chapter, especially the third chapter, that is Karma Yoga chapter, where this discussion comes of yoga ladder. It's a Vedic concept, yoga sopana, in which a person, anyone born in this material world, if he doesn't follow Vedic authority and he's living on an instinctive platform, whatever he likes to do, he does. Eating, sleeping, being with other partner, or the way he wants to live. That is actually animalistic life. Pashuvat jivana, like the animal does. It just goes by instinct. No rules, no, it doesn't care for anything. For an animal, actually, there is no karma which is being reaped. But for a human being, if one lives like that, he has to reap the according karma. So the higher status from that is the basic understanding of difference between body and soul. That's what Lord Krishna told in second chapter, the very first instruction. That first of all, understand, Arjuna, the first thing before talking about what is the right choice is to know what is permanent and what is temporary, what is Sat and what is Asat. And upon that comes Karma Kanda. So the person who is following Karma Kanda, he knows that the enjoyment which I am getting in this life is not permanent. So I will get a next life. I will lose this life. I will this body. I will get next body. So let me enjoy in that body. So what should I do in that body? What should I do now to get that enjoyment? So he will do all that is necessary. That is Karma Kanda. So the point, the benefit, if we see from below, from the animal life side, if we see, Karma Kanda is a step high. It's a progression, is it not? Because he's accepted Vedic authority. And there is a chance for him to elevate his consciousness. And the next thing comes is Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, the activities are according to Vedic directions, but he has changed the goal of his activities. The goal he knows is to get out of this karma chakra, samsara chakra, or this material engagement. That has become his goal. Now, how much he is purified, that's a second question, but the goal has changed. In Karma Kanda, the goal was, how can I enjoy in this world? In Karma Yoga, the goal is, how can I get out of this miserable material world? That's the goal. Now, according to a person's maturity in his consciousness, he will aim for either, say Brahma Jyoti or Vaikuntha or like that, different. But that's a Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, the beginning stage is a person who still has so much of material desires in his heart. He performs actions. He knows that the ultimate thing is to leave this material world, but he wants to also enjoy. So both sides are there for him, very strongly present, very visibly present. That's why it is Sakama Karma Yoga. And higher than that is Nishkama Karma Yoga. In Nishkama Karma Yoga, the person is performing the activities according to Vedic directions, but he is not attached to his results. In Sakama Karma Yoga, he is attached to the activity he performs and to the results. In Nishkama Karma Yoga, he understands that if I accept the results, then I have to bear the reactions for those actions. That concept will come in this section. That's why I will not accept results. I will offer it to some supreme aspect. So he is not interested or attached to the results, but he is still attached to the kind of activity he's doing. So his attachment is to the action, but not the result of action. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Now we are entering that section. I just told this to clarify that aspect. I'll just let's just see the sections again. Yeah. So 2.38 onwards, in fact. The 38, 39 is Buddhi Yoga. It is also called Nishkama Karma Yoga. And Lord Krishna will explain, even if your consciousness or your intent is to follow this Nishkama Karma Yoga, oh Arjuna, still it is a better choice to fight. Your choice would be considered better if you choose to fight. How it is, that will come in this section. Okay, now I pause. Some devotees have a question.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Dandavat Pranam.
We learnt about karma, akarma, and vikarma. Is Nishkama Karma Yoga same as akarma, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it will come. We will discuss this in 40. Okay, because
Okay,
there that discussion. I'll discuss that. You are right. At the same time, Prabhupada explains it much more maturely or much more elevatedly. We'll see that. Praveen Prabhu, you have a question?
No, Prabhuji, I will read next.
Oh, yeah. Take it. From 38, the next shloka onwards you read. So text number 38. So we are entering.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Nishkama Karma Yoga. Nishkama Karma is doing the work even without Krishna in the center, or what is that?
Yeah, good question. Good question. This also I will do in 40 number. Okay, there I'll explain this.
Okay.
Okay, now we are going to 38 shloka number. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayav tatho yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Praveen Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
So, what's the reason Krishna gives here for fighting? Why you should fight, Arjuna? Because, just see, because by fighting you will not incur sin. So here is the change of the argument which Krishna is addressing. So let us go back to the arguments. First argument was compassion on bodily platform, which was addressed by Lord Krishna in the Sankhya Atma Tattva, in the second section of this chapter. Now, second argument was, please help me. Yes, second argument.
No enjoyment.
Loss of enjoyment. Yes, for which Lord Krishna explained the third section. What's the third section?
Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga.
Not Karma Yoga. It is not Karma Yoga. What we called it? Karma Kanda. So, because Lord was telling you will gain Swarga, is it not? So he's not telling something outside the material world. He's telling you will gain Swarga, or if you die also you will gain. If you win, you will get kingdom. If you lose, you will get Swarga. You get killed, you will get Swarga. Means that's a Karma Kanda philosophy Lord is explaining. So Karma Kanda comes again in third chapter. Very nicely it comes. We will see that third chapter, 10th shloka onwards. So now Lord Krishna addresses the third argument, that is fear of sin, fear of sinful reactions. And that is addressed in this section called Nishkama Karma Yoga, also called by Acharyas as Buddhi Yoga. So what is this Buddhi Yoga which Lord is telling? We'll see that next shloka. Lord himself explains. Eshate vihita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shruno buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. Praveen Prabhu, read please.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Partha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
So at first, Lord explains the benefits of following Buddhi Yoga in the very beginning itself. So what will this Buddhi Yoga do? So Buddhi Yoga or Nishkama Karma Yoga, let us take this term called Buddhi Yoga. So Buddhi Yoga means you engage Buddhi in your choice of actions. When you are performing, have the right intellectual perspective. That means the Atma Tattva which one has heard, it should be practiced by doing the duty, at the same time not being attached to the results. So it is a very nice samanvaya of karma and gnana. Only karma means okay, either karmi or karma kandi. Karmi means a non-Vedic authority. Just one does actions which he likes. Karma kandi means one who follows Vedas, but he chooses actions which will fulfill his material desires. Now, Karma Yogi, that is especially Nishkama Karma Yogi, he knows very clearly Atma Tattva. Ultimately, everything in this world is temporary. So the only truth, eternality, is outside this material world. So he engages that. He knows that. And that's why he doesn't want to get incurred in reactionary cycle, either positive or negative, sin or pious. So he doesn't want to engage. So that's why in the earlier shloka, if you saw, sukhe dukkhe same kritva labha labhau jaya ajayav, both the dualities. Oh Arjuna, you should seeing this. If you want to get freed from both the dualities, also for you fighting is better according to Buddhi Yoga. Earlier he told what is good for you materially. Now he is telling, okay, you don't want even material good, because you say that you understand these dualities are something which are always troubling you. You want to rise above dualities. For that also fighting the battle is good choice. That will help you rise above the dualities. So that's the Lord's argument here. So Buddhi Yoga is karma, that is duties, with gnana, that is understanding of what is permanent and what is temporary. At the same time, not becoming attached to temporary things, that is results of work. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga. It is also called as Nishkama Karma Yoga. Now, in the yogic ladder which we saw, you carefully see this yogic ladder. The Gnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga all can be put in Nishkama Karma Yoga broad category. So, because all of these three are helping a person get out of the material world. Now, how long, how far is a question which is a difference between. Okay, but they are taking a person out. So, Padma Mataji, you had asked a question. Can you repeat?
That is, while doing Nishkama Karma, whether one is required.
Krishna is.
If it does not involve Lord in the center of this Namaskar or something.
Correct. So when we Prabhupada in his purports equates Nishkama Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga, that's the terminology used. Okay, technically speaking, if you see technically, then Nishkama Karma Yoga is a much lower step. Okay. And everything above gives the benefits which Nishkama Karma Yoga gives. Like Nishkama Karma Yoga helps a person get out of the material world. So Gnana Yoga helps, Ashtanga Yoga helps, Bhakti Yoga surely does it. Is it not? In Bhakti Yoga, especially actually in Ashtanga Yoga onwards, Lord's presence becomes clearer and clearer in a person's life. In Ashtanga Yoga, Lord is there in the practitioner's life as an object of meditation. But in Bhakti Yoga, Lord is there in the person's life as an object of service. The devotee wants to serve the Lord, please the Lord, because he loves the Lord. In that sense. So Bhakti Yoga, Dana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, all three can be put in the broader bucket of Nishkama Karma. Okay? So Lord could be there when we call Bhakti Yoga as Nishkama Karma Yoga. But when we call other two as Nishkama Karma Yoga, he may not be. Okay? It depends on context. Okay. Now, one more Prabhuji had a question earlier.
Yeah, Prabhuji, it's me, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I forgot your question.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So another classification of karma is simple classification is vikarma, karma, and akarma. My question is, how do those three map into this ladder, or which one is akarma?
Now let's ask this: in this ladder, where is vikarma? Who can say to me?
Animal life is vikarma.
Animal life is vikarma because he is going by instinct. There is no Vedic authority there, and karma or Vedic following of Karma Kanda. Yes, in fact, Sakama Karma Yoga also is karma. But there, because there is attachment to the results which is still there, that's why it's not fully a karma. But because it is leading to Krishna, it could be considered a karma. So it's a kind of a gradient, between aspect. But Nishkama Karma Yoga you can call as a karma. That's why you see in Ishopanishad those purports. Prabhupada uses the word Naishkarmya. Have you seen that word? Naishkarmya, like that he uses. So that is actually pointing to Nishkama Karma Yoga. Okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay. And Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga are above Akarma, Prabhuji, in that case? Like they're more advanced in the sense, like,
Yes. So there are certain elements. See, when we saw animal life, there was no Vedic authority. When we saw Karma Kanda, Vedic authority is there. That's the best, good part of it. When we saw Sakama Karma Yoga, the goal is not just in the material world, enjoyment in material world, but liberation. So Karma Yoga mein Nishkama and Sakama Karma actions are there, but the goal is something outside the material world. Now when we come to Gnana Yoga, even that engagement in activities are stopped. Okay, there is just utilization of intelligence about Lord. When we come to Ashtanga Yoga, then the consciousness engaged, the meditation, that is the foremost point there. When we come to Bhakti Yoga, it's a wonderful explanation which our Prabhupada gives, that how it is the highest. In fact, that is what is the culmination of these first 6 chapters. How Bhakti Yoga is the highest yoga. The last shloka of the 6th chapter tells this, that how the highest yogi is one who serves me, who does my bhajan. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antarat. In that sense, Bhakti Yoga is highest. Lord himself establishes that very systematically, and Prabhupada presents it, not able to hold, that secrecy, and out of compassion, he presents it much. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, very clear, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very clear.
Okay.
One question, Prabhuji.
Yes. Prasad.
Yeah. Technically, if you see Nishkama Karma Yoga, in the sense like I am doing a karma, but I'm not expecting anything. So I am doing some kind of donation, charity, okay, to some kind of annadan or various other things, or Goshala or something like that. So, but I'm not expecting anything in the result. But in that is a Nishkama Karma, right? But still, I'm not saying anything, or divinity is not there in that. So that we can call it as a Nishkama Karma, right, Prabhuji? It's
Correct.
not a devotional service exactly, but I'm not expecting anything still.
Okay. Yes. There is no prominent aspect of Lord's presence, in that.
Yes.
Technically speaking, again I tell. Technically speaking,
that is Nishkama Karma Yoga.
Yes. Now, another thing I will tell you. This is technically speaking, which we are just now seeing. But if you see practically, you see a person who performs activities, who doesn't expect any results, and he doesn't have any higher motive than just getting out of this material world. Then why will he perform activities? There are so many questions which come. Do we see such kind of a practitioner around? Very, 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 very little.
There, Prabhuji, but there are, Prabhuji. Okay, for example, okay, somebody likes cows. Okay, so but he may not be thinking of the divinity and all that. He likes cows because it has the similar feelings of humans. So he could be doing that. I'm just giving an example here.
Yeah, possible.
I have seen, Prabhuji. I have seen.
Yeah. So there also, if you carefully see, there is an inclination for the activity. At the same time, there is a desire that there should be welfare for those living beings. They should be maintained and all. So in one sense, that is an expectation of result. If we carefully closely see. So there is, they are selflessly doing. See, that's why the material selflessness is an extended sense gratification, we call. Is it not? We saw this in Ishavasya principle, that how there is I and there is mine. And sometimes people they say, I like cows, because I like it. They don't have any reason for it. So that's why this. I like to serve my country. I like this community. So there will always be there is some sense of expectation of result. Surely it's there. In one comment, Acharyas have explained that Nishkama Karma Yoga is a very theoretical concept unless a person, a practitioner has understood devotional service. Why will a person sacrifice a result unless he has come to devotional service? Like, for example, the example is given. Suppose we are sitting in a home. Our parents come to suppose I am sitting at my home, my father comes and says, go and purchase a gift for so and so person. I don't know about that person. Then okay, because my father is telling, I will go and purchase a gift for giving to that person. So I purchase a gift and come. Second situation, go and purchase a gift for your uncle. He says. So I know who is my uncle, what he likes, what he appreciates, what kind of color and what article. So I go and purchase that and come. In both the cases, I have purchased something which I am not using. Let us compare it to the Nishkama Karma Yoga practitioner. Nishkama Karma Yogi, he performs activities, the results he doesn't take. Now, what's the difference in the first and second? Quickly.
Okay, the second, because he know the person, and definitely little bit of more attachment or more attention will be there, in my understanding. It's because he's doing it for his uncle. He know that person.
In the first case, there may be an indifference, but surely the second case is better because of the relationship that person has to whom he is giving the results. That's why the detachment from selfish expectation of results is complete. That because of that relationship. So that's why Bhakti Yogi is a true Nishkama Karma Yogi. Is it not? So Prabhupada explains in the purport of the shloka number 38. If you see carefully, Lord Krishna desires the battle. That's why Arjuna should fight. That means what? Lord wants it. So Arjuna, I want the battle. I want the battle to be fought. So you fight for me. So this is Nishkama Karma Yoga, na? Is it not? In that sense, Prabhupada is giving the higher explanation for Nishkama Karma Yoga. So see that this thing. Everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna. That is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either goodness, passion, is subject to reaction. But one who has completely surrendered himself in activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is a debtor to anyone. So Prabhupada quotes that famous shloka of Devarshi Bhuta Tandrinam Pitrinam, of how when a person surrenders to Mukunda, fully, completely devoted to him, then he doesn't need to even care to oblige to the debts he has received from many people around, either the Devatas, Rishis, Pitrus, like that. Because serving Lord is fulfilling all the debts. This is the faith the devotee has. So the point essentially is that a Nishkama Karma Yoga is completely practiced when one comes to devotional service. So that's why Prabhupada, you will see that these purports are so nicely, so well explained in devotional service context by Prabhupada. They are like a pure devotional service only. Prabhupada explains in that sense. So that is the Nishkama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. Okay. So any last doubt before we can go ahead? Sunil Prabhu. Yeah. Sunil Prabhu has a question.
Hanji Prabhuji, in the ladder that you are showing, so the karma kandis or the karmis are being shown against the sakam karma yoga, right? And in a lot of lectures we have heard that if we are not following devotional service, or say if we are not having focus of Krishna in our whatever we do as a work, or so, we are actually performing as karmis. So my question is, why it is and we say that actually we, or say we were performing, or we are still continuing to perform as karmis, or the whole world is actually performing as karmis. So why that is a sidetrack at sakam karma yoga rather than not at an animal life, or probably at a prescribed duty level.
Okay. So if I understood your question, last part I could not understand, I'll rephrase. So you are telling that sometimes the practice which we do in our conditioned stage is placed in these lower categories, hai na? Matlab Nishkama karma yoga. What you said after that? So
I'm saying if we are doing our work, it is said that also or the way we are leading our life, it is basically we are leading our life as karmis. Okay. And if that's the case, which means that we are not keeping Krishna in the focus, or say we are not actually performing our work as per the Bhakti Yoga. So why it is at Sakam Yoga that it is being mentioned over here that this is a sidetrack, rather than, because I don't know if I have understood it wrongly or not, but then it is that we all, or say most of, or 95% of the population in the world is actually performing the life of karmis, okay, and basically enjoying for themselves, right, and taking the fruits of work and for fame and so on. So why it is being mentioned as a sidetrack at Sakam Karma Yoga rather than it is similar to animal life, or say might be at also as a sidetrack of Karma Kanda as well.
So this ladder shows an evolution of consciousness. Okay. So now Bhakti Yoga, if you see very carefully, it has come above Ashtanga Yoga, above Jnana Yoga, above Nishkama Karma Yoga. Means the person who has reached the stage of Bhakti Yoga, truly speaking, he has actually attained pure devotional service. It's that way, technically speaking here. But now there is a parallel yoga ladder for this. When any person at any stage, either even Karma Kanda, Sakama, Nishkama, Jnana Yoga, anywhere, if he gets association of great souls, pure devotees, then he doesn't need to go through this gradual ladder. I was trying to abstain myself from explaining this, thinking it will take more time. But anyway, I will try to briefly tell. So when a person comes in association of devotees, then the yoga ladder, it becomes much compacted for elevation of consciousness. Say a person in Karma Kanda, he gets somehow, he's giving charity or something like that. One day he sees a great Paramahamsa Vaishnava who is absorbed in chanting holy name, who is in ecstasy. He hears his some Upadesha. He becomes very inspired, and then suddenly he also decides, yes, let me also take to devotional service in determination. You will see so many stories like that, is it not? So then for him, he doesn't need to go to Sakama Karma, Nishkama Karma, like that. So when a person takes to devotional service, wherever he is, he should not be technically called as either Nishkama Karma Yogi or Sakama Karma Yogi or Karmi, technically speaking, because as I just told, the consciousness of a Karmi is different. The consciousness of a Karma Kandi is different. Now, a devotee who is practicing devotional service, he has accepted the shelter of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So he may not be fully pure at his heart, but he has accepted the goal to serve them. So in that sense, he should not be put in technically in these categories. He may have some inclinations like that. Let us call it like that, but not entirely place them in this category, because to call a devotee as Karma Kandi Krishna will consider it as an offense. Because Krishna considers the devotee in whatever stage of either conditioned or liberated dear to him. So in that sense, we should not technically call such person. Now, when you call Sakama Karma Yoga is a deflection or is a sidetrack and all, that is to explain that when a person becomes possessed by the benefits a person gains in that stage, like Karma Kanda. Lord himself will explain later that how a Karma Kanda is very inferior. A person who becomes very interested in heavenly enjoyment, he gets stuck there only. He doesn't think about evolving ahead. So that sense, there is traps, or there is at every stage there is possibility of getting stuck. In Karma Yoga, he may think, oh, I am doing nice activity. I'm not getting attached to sinful reactions. Let me continue doing. He may think like in Jnana Yoga, one may think, oh, liberation, or even merging into the absolute. One may think like that. Or in Ashtanga Yoga, one may get some siddhis. He gets so much of powers. So there are so much of benefits each stage provides. And when a person considers that benefit itself as the attainment of his life, that becomes a sidetrack. Otherwise, it's just continuing in the evolution of ladder in that sense. Is it clear in some extent?
Yes, it is clear.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
1 minute. Let Sunil Prabhu complete.
Okay.
Yeah. So my question was not on that manner, that why or said differentiating between Bhakti Yoga. And so my question was more on karmis are basically like we enjoy our fruits of work, right? And at this point of time, being at I am also part of that. That's how I see it. Okay. So and am I performing a Sakam Karma Yoga? Probably not, right? So why the karmi is being mentioned as a sidetrack for Sakam Karma Yoga and not at a Karma Kanda or probably at an animal life? So that is my question.
I'm not able to catch the question here. Actually, can other devotee help me if some answer? Yes. Sorry for this. Yeah.
I'll try to explain what I understood from this question. Here you have mentioned against the Sakama Karma Yogi as a sidetrack, right? It is under sidetrack. Okay. So Karma Kanda people, they actually they are also sidetracked actually, because there is nothing called sidetrack for them, because they're already they are already into this Haitava Dharma and all. Yeah. So they already into sidetrack Dharma Artha Kama Moksha and all. So that's why. So his question is, it is you are saying Sakama Karma Yoga as a sidetrack. Most of them fall under the Karma Kanda. So that is what his question is. But they are already sidetracked. Don't need to mention.
So you are mentioning this arrow, Prabhuji, sideways. Fruits of work, fame, or material enjoyment, karmis. Why is that mentioned like that?
No, I understood. Thank you, Prabhuji, Prabhu. So I understood that basically Karma Kand sidetrack or Karma
already
Kand is equal to the sidetrack of Sakam Karma Yoga.
Correct. The exit gates are different, but they are already sidetracked. They also.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So should we go ahead? We have few minutes left. Okay. I'll take questions little later. We will try to proceed. So now we are entering Nishkama Karma Yoga. So Lord is telling the benefit one receives. The very first benefit he says is, you will be freed from the bondage of work. You can free yourself from the bondage of work. Karma bandham prahasyasi. the shloka says. So Lord Prabhupada will explain in the shloka, the purpose of Sankhya is to attain detachment. That is analytical. Now, Buddhi Yoga is practical, because a person is performing duties. He is not just sitting and analyzing, but he's performing duties without attachment in this world. And that process will awaken detachment. It will in fact give gnana. That we will see that in the later chapter also. Such a performance of dutiful, detached action. Dutiful, detached action will give actually freedom from bondage of work. So in Bhagavad Gita, we see duty, devotion, detachment. Three things explained in 3 sections of 6 chapters. And everything is explained very nicely by Lord. The first 6 chapters focus on duty, karma yoga. If you see how 18 chapters are composed. So dutiful, detached action is being explained in Nishkama Karma Yoga. Okay, that's why karma and gnana samanvaya we called it. So now here, Lord told the first benefit, freedom from bondage of work. And Prabhupada explains in purport, very nice purport. This is what I was telling, Sankhya. What is a Sankhya which Bhagavatam explains? What is Sankhya which Bhagavad Gita explains? That is there in this purport. One can see that. Yeah, you see, Sankhya philosophy, atheistic Sankhya, Buddhi Yoga. What is this like? Now, Lord will tell the second benefit in text number 40. Very famous verse. Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Who was reading? I forgot. Please read.
I was reading. Okay.
Yes.
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Dangerous type of fear. So this shloka is applicable for Nishkama Karma Yoga. It means Gnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. All 3 actually. All 3 could be considered for this shloka. So there is no loss or diminution. No pratya, you see the word used. Nasha, abhikrama nasha na asti. There is no nasha, there is no loss. Pratyavayo na vidyate. There is no diminution. Ghatta nahi hai wo, jo bhi humne paya hai. No, there is no decrease of it. There is no loss of it. Even if one does little, it helps one to cross over the greatest fears. Mahato bhayat. Prabhupada explains very famous explanation. What is this Mahato bhayat? What is this Mahato bhayat? Anyone, please let me know if you have heard about it. What is the Mahato bhayat Lord is telling? Which is that fear, which is the great fear from which one will be saved by performing Nishkama Karma?
Fear of death.
Death. Any more explanation?
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Taking the lower forms of the human life.
Correct. Losing the human life. Going into the lower species. That is considered Mahato Bhayat. You may remember this in Ishopanishad also, this shloka had come in purports. So Prabhupada explains in the purport so nicely with so many examples. Ajamila is one example which Lord Prabhupada gives. How he performed little devotional service in the very beginning part of his life. And even though he got distracted, still it was kept intact. And later he continued from that ahead. Ajamila is one great example for us. There are many examples in Shastras. One also may remember the example of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, very non-typically, he got a birth of a deer. You know, so there you may say, Prabhuji, here Mahato Bhayat. How is this Mahato Bhayat valid? But see, the body became dear, but the consciousness was not like dear. You know, you may know this. He was still remembering all his earlier activities. He was going and staying around the hermitages of sages. He was repenting for his wrong choices, attachment to the deer when he was in the forest hut. You know, so he was still saved from falling down to animal consciousness, and his devotional service progress was kept intact, and he continued. What Bharata was in the deer life was spiritually higher than what Bharata was in the king's life or in the Vanaprastha life. You know? And what Bharata was in Jada Bharata's life was higher than what Bharata was in the deer's life, which was much higher than what he was in the Vanaprastha, or, you know, as a mendicant life. So the spiritual progress was just increasing. There was no loss, there was no decrease. This is one great this thing. Prabhupada says here, 1% done in Krishna consciousness yields permanent results. See this line. So the next beginning is from point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, 100% success also, there is no profit. Prabhupada used to say, today we are learning A, B, C, D, and we may even gain PhD. But next life, again, it starts from A, B, C, D, you know, Baba, Black Sheep, all like that. In that sense, devotional service is considered as the activity for a human being to do. You know, even if a person is not able to continue it for long, still it will do greatest welfare for. The shloka told is this, Srimad Bhagavatam. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harir bhajan apakota pathet tato yadi yatra kvava bhadram abuda mushyakim kovarta apto abhashatam swadharmatah. Meaning to say, even if a person out of sentiment, out of not proper knowledge, takes to devotional service, leaving everything aside, and he is not able to progress ahead, he is not able to do his bhajan nicely, and that also he leaves in the middle, still he is to be considered superior to the person who may very stably perform his material duties. This is the version of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam says, if a person is performing duties very stably without devotional service, what is the use? Whereas a person who performed devotional service even out of sentiment, even for some time, not being very dharmic also, but yet he performed little devotional service, he is much higher in his devotional merit or his eternal path. You know, he is superior. In that sense, it's told. So, how Bhagavatam sees is the highest vision. You know? And that's what Prabhupada explains. So, Neha Bhikrama Nashosti. There is no Nasha, there is no Pratyavaya, you know, no diminution or decay. So, material activities and their results end with the body. But the work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness even after the loss of one body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life as human, either as a Shuchi or Srimata, either as a Brahmana family or in the wealthy family, or if not a devotee family, you know. And that's how the devotional service merits are explained. And there is one more very important shloka which is coming in 41. In fact, this is such an important verse, Vyavasayatmika verse, that this was the the catalyst. You can say catalyst. Or this was the great inspiration which Prabhupada received after reading this shloka's explanation by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So there will be some time needed to explain this shloka. We will not take it today. So I'll conclude here for today. What we saw today is the Karma Kanda description, motivation by Lord to fight. And then we saw little about the yoga ladder. And then we started to understand the Nishkama Karma Yoga, which Lord speaks from 38, 39 onwards. So we have just now seen few of the benefits of Nishkama Karma Yoga. Can anyone quickly say what are the benefits of Nishkama Karma Yoga?
Liberation from bondage.
Freedom
Going
from
back
material
to
bondage. Yes.
a path
And then,
towards back to Godhead, Prabhuji.
path
Because now
towards Godhead.
devotional is there now. We understood. I understood at
Correct.
least.
There is one more benefit. Just now is advantage. You can call advantage.
No fear of going to lower species.
No fear of going to lower species. No fear of losing anything, whatever we have done. No decrement it happens in it. Like, so that's the benefits. We will see it ahead from here in the next session. Today I took little extra, not noting the time. We'll take next
there is
time.
no lose at all. There is no loss at all. If you do little bit of Nishkama Karma, we're not going to lose it. Because that is Nishkama. It's not a Sakama.
Correct. Yes. Thank you very much. We will meet in the next session to take this ahead. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srimad
Hare
Bhagavad
Krishna.
Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam.